Hi, I'm Bru Baker, and I'm here on Boy Meets Boy wrapping up my blog tour for my latest release, Tall, Dark, and Deported. It is book number 31 in the Dreamspun Desires series. And if you've been following along with my blog tour, then you have seen the other two readings that I've done from the book. If not, you can find links to them on my webpage, which is www.bru-baker.com. And you'll be able to find links to all of the tour stops, both readings and some of the other extras, like my copycat recipe for Auntie Anne's pretzels. So we are picking up with this reading after their flight has been canceled in Vancouver, and Crawford and Matthias find themselves needing to find a different way to get up to Canada from Seattle. Crawford rubbed a hand across the back of his neck. When is your flight back anyway? Tonight, but that will be rebooked too, won't it? Actually, I don't know what they'll do in that case. They may just cancel your entire ticket and have you rebook another day. Matthias let out a groan. I don't have another day. My visa runs out in 2 days, and they won't let me fly if it's expired. Crawford looked over his shoulder, where the mob of people waiting for the tram was still visible. It would take hours to process all of those people, and even if they were lucky enough to find a customer service agent to help them at another desk, they weren't getting out of Seattle tonight. So, this is crazy. And we just met, and you could be a serial killer for all I know. But hear me out. Vancouver's only about 2.5 hours away, 3 tops. What if I rented a car and drove us there? I could drop you off at the airport in time for your flight home. Matthias's brows rose. Really? Crawford knew how ridiculous it sounded. Hell, if a stranger had offered him a ride, he'd have definitely said no, but Matthias desperately needed to get to Canada, and Crawford desperately needed not to delay the start of his meetings. They'd been getting along well enough over pretzels and coffee, and Matthias was a funny, well-spoken guy, not to mention hot. Serial killers were never hot, were they? They were always loners with no social skills and polyester pants, right? Shit. Matthias was totally going to think he was a serial killer or a stalker. He shouldn't have offered. Never mind it. No, I want to, Matthias said in a rush. I mean, if you're willing to drive me. I don't have an international driver's license, so I couldn't rent a car. But if you're willing, I'll go. Do you think I could get the airline to refund my part of the ticket? Then I could pay you for half of the car. Crawford waved off his concern. We'll need to cancel the tickets, but don't worry about money. I'll expense the car. My company will pay for it. Don't worry about it. Even if Chatham Thompson didn't pick up the tab, it wasn't like a few $100s was going to make much difference to him, and it was certainly worth it if it got him there sooner. Come on, I'll take care of the car rental while we're in line to cancel those tickets, Crawford said. He sped up, crossing to the point of no return for security and toward the check-in desks. He could see a few people in line, but there couldn't be more than 24 in front of him. Much better odds than the hundreds over in Terminal 3. Matthias hurried alongside him, picking up his bag when roller wheels couldn't keep pace. Do you have bags on the plane? I do, but they'll take care of getting those to my hotel. Odds are the bags will probably get there before we do. They're already on another flight to Vancouver, I bet. Matthias shot him a look. You seem to know a lot about this. Do your flights get canceled often? Crawford grinned. Not often, no, but I travel pretty much constantly, so it does happen. They made it to the other end of the line, and from the grumbles of the people in front of them, it sounded like at least a few of them had been on their flight. Matthias made a clucking noise. That sounds terrible. I've never been put out by a cancellation. They'll do their best to get you there eventually. There might be a delay, and I can work from just about anywhere, so a night in an airport hotel doesn't usually matter much. No, I mean the traveling constantly. I can't imagine living that way. How do you put down roots? Crawford hadn't ever really thought about it that way. He'd traveled less when he'd been married, but since the divorce he'd seen no reason not to head out wherever he was needed. They were usually short trips, a few days here, a few days there. As long as he had his weekends home to help with Brandon whenever Karen was deployed, Crawford didn't really care where he was during the week. I'm not really one for roots, Crawford said with a shrug. I tried it once. It didn't take. Matthias gave him a lopsided grin. That's called transplant shock. There are fixes for it. Most of the time when a plant doesn't root, it's because there's a deficiency in the soil. Do you not like your soil in Los Angeles, Crawford? That was one way to put it. I like it well enough, he said lightly. You seem to know a lot about plants. Did you learn so you could help your brother? They were inching forward slowly, and Crawford couldn't imagine what agony the other line must be. As it was, they'd been pushing uncomfortably close to getting Mattias to the Vancouver airport in time for his flight, since who knew how long the border crossing would take. Not exactly. I'm a botanist. Not so much an expert on apple trees, but I've had fun experimenting. A botanist? I don't think I've ever met a botanist. You're probably good at telling edible plants from poisonous ones, right? And figuring out how to grow things? I was just thinking about how this flight cancellation has the feel of a zombie apocalypse, with the way so many people are running around and everything seems so dire. You'd be good to have around. Crawford knew his non sequiturs were hard to follow for most people, but that's what happened when your best friend was your 15-year-old nephew. You tended to talk in pop culture references and not make a lot of sense. But he could kick ass at Call of Duty and Mario Kart, and thanks to the videos Brandon liked to watch, he could open a tin can with a brick if need be. It wasn't like he couldn't bring at least some skills to their zombie fighting group. Mattias didn't look the slightest bit alarmed at the turn the conversation had taken. I'm not much of a fighter, I'm afraid, but I could keep us fed in the wilderness until we made it to a remote outpost to start over. He gave Crawford a friendly leer, though we'd have trouble restarting the population. But it would be fun to try, Crawford joked, internally crowing when Mattias's shoulders started to shake with laughter. That it would. Fruitless, but fun. Is that a botany joke? Mattias looked puzzled for a moment, and then laughed ruefully. I wished I was clever enough for it to have been. You seem pretty clever to me. After all, the continued survival of our entire outpost is going to be on your shoulders. And what wonderful shoulders they were, broad and strong, leading to a tapered waist and long, lean legs. No, being sequestered with Mattias during a zombie apocalypse would not be a hardship. So that is, again, from Tall, Dark, and Deported, which was out on April 1st with Dreamspinner Press. And I just want to thank everyone who has participated in this blog tour along the way. I've had a blast talking about Crawford and Mattias, and I look forward to talking to people about this. I will be at the LA Times Festival of Books in April, so if you're there, definitely come by the Dreamspinner book booth and look me up. Thanks for watching.